Okay, hello. My name is Ethan, and this is an app I built on Oracle Apex in about 30 days. Really started working on it hard at the beginning of the month, especially on the UI. I had written a little of the back end in December and started working on the UI a little bit at the end of December, but mostly it's been the last 2 weeks. So effectively, I've done this in 30 days, and I'm sure in the future I could do this in less than 30 days because a lot of the assets that I needed to build this, I've built and can be reused for other applications. So we have the login form. You click register to register here, add an email, password, confirm the password, click register. It does send you a password verification link, but you don't need to verify your email address for until you log in. Like right now it's set to 100 times, so effectively never, or not for a long time. And I'm using the development environment here. You would just go to superloser.io and you should see this, and you're going to get the same thing, but my data is in here, and I want to show you my data over the last year. And we'll be adding a way that you can upload your history, your historical data if you've got that somewhere. So anyway, I already have an account. If I forgot my password, I'd click here. We're going to go ahead and log in. And it takes me to this form, which is the weight entry form right here. And each day this will be blank. When it rolls over midnight, it'll go up blank again. And you just put your weight in and hit enter, and it records your weight. And that's pretty much all you need to do. And then you can go and look at your data. So today I put in 198.8. And here is my weight history. The green line represents my target goal, so I'm quite a bit above my target goal. Now, if I look at over the last year, you can see I've lost quite a bit of weight, but have been trending up, and specifically because I've been sitting here writing code all day, I tend to eat and write code. It just goes together. I'm using this as an excuse to gain weight so I can show you how I lose weight at the end of this month. So that the lose weight part is coming, and I'll show you how I interpret my data each day. But in fact, even with this weight gain, I'm not really that discouraged, and that is one of the important things about having the data. When you're watching your exercise and your diet, is having the data helps you make better decisions and not get discouraged. I think if you didn't have the data that I have right here, I think it would be very discouraging. But it's not very discouraging because, one, it's not that big of a blip in light of things and in light of where I've been, and I know how to lose weight like this anytime I want. And I'll show you some of the more encouraging numbers. So it gives you a score from 0 to 9. I'm getting a 2, and on another page I can see the history of that score. So 2 is not very good, right? And anything that's green, I got a point for. So hey, I lost weight since yesterday, and hey, my current weight in comparison to my average weight, I'm under my average. Well, if you're under your average, that's going to help drive that average down. That's good. But the yellows and the reds are not so good. So my average weight compared to a month ago, up 2.1 pounds. It's all muscle, I'm sure. The average weight change this week, average change in weight over the last month. So these are kind of just some metrics that we can use to come up with a score to kind of tell you how you're doing. If you need help on this chart, you can open this up, and it gives you a little bit more explanation of what you're looking at. So if we go to our history, this gets a lot more detail, and so this tells me how is my weight changing over time. I have explanations for the gray, blue, and gray bars, the gray line and gray bars. And basically, the dark gray line is my daily weigh-in. I'm sorry, the dark is the weekly change in weight, is the gray line. So, and then you have your rolling average for that weekly change. So that blue line is just the gray line smoothed out. And this is showing my monthly. So obviously, been trending up here. But again, if you look at the history, in the last roughly year, we've had 3 episodes that weren't so hot. It drove my the weight up. After this cycle right here, the average came up, and well, anyway. But you can see this peak right now is not the end of the it's not as bad as this one yet, and it'll probably be longer than this one, but it hasn't gotten as high as that one. So that's why I talk about having context. We're not too worried about that. We can bring that down. I'll show you my calorie balance. So this is the estimated calorie surplus or deficit. And what it's telling me is that right now I've got about a surplus of about 170 calories, but last week I was averaging about 645 calories in surplus. So this lags a little bit, but because it's based off that 7-day rolling average, but it gives you a pretty good idea of what you need to do, more exercise or less eating. And again, I have some historical context, so I can kind of see these peaks that I've had, and this is just, another peak. And as I said, next month I'll be, doing daily vlogs of my routine and all that, and showing my data and how it correlates to what I'm working on and how I interpret that and how that keeps me encouraged. Score super low lately, so like I said, not too worried about things right now. We get down to this data grid, and I'm probably going to come up with a better name for this. So here's my average weight. This is 7-day rolling average, basically. It's 199.1, but last week I was 198.3, so up quite a bit. Weekly change, 0.95 pounds. My weight today was 198.8, and last week it was 198.6. So that's why it's good to have that rolling average comparison and your daily deltas. The monthly change we saw is about 2 pounds. My calorie balance right now is about 170. It was dropping, so even though my scores weren't looking too good, if you look here, I had a fairly high calorie balance as I've been doing a lot of work on this particular application. You see it was dropping, and then boom, it went up. I can't say that I've done much today to help this number, but we'll get onto that soon. So you can look at the history there, and because this is Oracle Apex, there's a whole bunch of functions in here you can do. Like if I just wanted to look at Fridays, I could just type Fry, and it filters the data for you. And there's a whole bunch of other actions you can take just because it's built into Oracle Apex. I didn't have to do anything really to code this up, but lay the data out. So now we have a journal here. I have not been making journal entries, but if I wanted to, you just come in here and make an entry. Eventually we'll have tags and some things like that. It will approximate, and I don't know if proximate or approximated is the right word here, but let's say you skip a week and you come in and come back to here and fill in the details. It will figure out, just kind of guess what the weight was to get from A to B, and it will show you a blue check here that the weight was approximated. So maybe you're not entering your data in every day. I don't have reminders set up, but they're coming, and maybe just hot links. You can just click on the reminder and enter your weight. And then under preferences, name, date of birth, sex, height, phone number. That's going to be used for texting. Nothing doesn't do anything now. Best time for reminders. That again is not doing anything at the moment, but eventually we'll start sending reminders. My target weight, and then you can change the theme light or dark if you want. And a lot of people think that's goofy, but if you're looking at if you want to weigh in at night or something, and you have a bright screen, it's kind of a pain. So you can just click theme and save. And we do just assume that 3,500 calories is a pound. So you can if you think this, if you go back to your calorie balance here on history, let's say that I think this is too high. This number really, it says I have 170 excess calories, but I know that I'm not eating any excess calories. I'm not gaining any weight. Well, if I wasn't gaining weight, it would say 0. But let's just say you think this is high. You can change this number, and it will change that calorie balance. That's the only thing that's going to change. And I think it has an inverse effect. So if you increase this, it lowers your calorie balance estimated. So if you needed to tweak this, if you for some reason don't believe that 3,500 calories is essentially a pound, you think it's a little different, you can play with that. But it's under advanced for a reason, because it really is just exposing an internal variable to you. And if you want to delete the account, you just type delete. Now, for now, it doesn't actually delete your data yet. It just marks it as needing to be deleted, and then I will go delete the data later. The support thing is just, we don't have any pricing plans. It's not worth paying for at this point. And also, it's still on the Oracle free tier, so you're going to see a lot of errors when you perhaps you're going to see little errors up here that say service unavailable. It's not really a big deal. It just means one of your charts didn't get filled out. Everything is going to work otherwise, the saving of data and all that, most likely. I'll be moving this to a paid tier soon, but for now, it's not. But if you wanted to donate, you could. The idea here is I'm just demonstrating to other developers out there, like, don't, just because you can't charge money for it, doesn't mean you shouldn't have a way of taking money. Sometimes people just want to pay you for things. And that's a good thing because they're telling you that your app is good. So when you create a new account, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Let's do a new account. I'm just going to say you@foo.com. And I'm going to create a new account and click register, show you something. So this framework that I'm using has this, the auth framework has this thing called Flash Message. I know there's some add-ins out there by the FOSS add-ins. I played them with them. I didn't like it as much as this. There's some problems with this, but it works, and I think it looks pretty cool. And so that's a little cool feature if you're building on the framework, which is going to be open source called K2. And if you're building on that, you can make use of those. But anyway, you see that it basically pre-populates your data with 100 pounds for 30 days. So first thing you're going to do is go put your weight in to get started. And so if I say 198.4 and hit return, what it did is it just went and said, okay, now we know where we're starting from. Now you can go in and edit all this data, and you can see it's blue checked because it was approximated. We don't really know 30 days ago if you were on 98.8. If you weren't, let's say you happen to know you've lost 10 pounds, right? So I can go in here and so what would that be? 208, just say 208, and then click save, and it will approximate that weight loss down. So if we go back to history now, you can see it's charted that for us. And so, and it's updated all these numbers. So anyway, so it tries to get you going, but I will have a way in which you can upload like a year's worth of data. You're just going to cut and paste a CSV file with a weight and date or something like that. And you just cut and paste it into their form and save it, and that will update all your weight history, so you've got your weight history to use if you want that. Okay, well that's it. This is the MVP beta, so it's not even the MVP, I'm just putting it out there, and I'm going to have like people I know start playing with it and giving me feedback. You know, I already have a list of well over 100 things to do to it, features and fixes and things that could be better. Really just looking for, is there anything like utterly incomprehensible when someone looks at it? Like, what am I supposed to do? So this is built on Oracle Apex, built in less than 30 days. Just an example of what could be built in Apex if you're using Apex. And you got any questions that I can answer, feel free to get in touch. You can reach me at, look me up on my website, which is ethan.com with dashes between the letters, E-T-H-. Anyway, it's easy to find, and I'm easy to find. Okay, thanks for watching.